legends and super legends. Welcome to Veloharmony. Today is going to be a fair day. It's about 18 Celsius, 64 degrees Fahrenheit right now. And during the ride, it's going to go from 64 Fahrenheit to, say, 84 Fahrenheit, which is like 21 Celsius to about 28 Celsius. It's going to be sunny and just a very, very pleasant day. So I'm ready to roll, and I'm going to try to pick up a group. There is a ride going on called the MS 150. So a lot of the Team RR guys are going to be doing that. So not sure who's going to be out there riding at this point. But I'm leaving to head into the woodlands and see who's out there riding today. I don't do the MS 150 because I've done it before, and it's just very congested and a lot of different skills of riders I've mentioned before, so I didn't really care for it much. But hope you all get a chance to get some K's in and enjoy your Saturday. I'll try to get some clips for you. On this ride, I left Northampton about 6:30. I headed out into the woodlands to pick up the Woodland Cycling Club. You see Doug Schott there at the Ashland YMCA, so we headed out together. I wasn't aware that Paul was ahead of us. He had ridden from home. We ended up picking him up on Honey, Egypt. I had been off like 10 days off the bike, which was a good period of time, so I was easing back into things by keeping my effort sweet spot or less. And you will see that develop throughout the ride. So when you ride with a group, you have to watch your effort and make sure that is what you want to do, because everybody does different things. You will see where Doug is ahead, the group's ahead of us, but we did the same route. And you'll see that we go west and they head back the way they came. We ended up doing more hours, at least 2 more hours than they did. So you have to temper your effort based on what your goal is for each ride, group ride, or solo that you do. Pacing is critical. It was a very nice ride. You'll see in the clips where the group ended up waiting for me when I fell off the pace. Mo takes the camera, he does some guest directing. I thought that was really cool. I kept everything he did, and I think that you guys will get a kick out of it. He did it in Italian, but the images are awesome. So, hope you all enjoy the clips. We're in the Ashland YMCA parking lot, about to discuss the routes.
About Honey, Egypt, sure. Normal, all the way out there, Montgomery, 149, take a left on 1790, I think it is called.
This is Maurizio Topini.
Go Bethel Forest, all the way back to 149, take a right down to 149, and then before we get down the hill, we take a left on Mount Pleasant. All I hear is la 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 la. Okay? La, 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 la. Oh, I just want to make sure, because now make sure you know, because if you're planning to go on a solo breakaway, that way you know. Yeah,
you know Mount Pleasant. You know Mount Pleasant.
There you go. Don't tell Fabian the loop. That way you.
It's Fabian just got it.
You have to follow us.
What says you have to follow us?
I see. Yeah.
Because Fabian likes to ride off the front, go for KOMs and stuff like that.
You good? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, well, we'll just.
It was a warmer day than we've been used to. You know, 80s Fahrenheit, low 80s, ended up later in the morning, which is about 28 Celsius. I ended up drinking more. I drank like 6 bottles of water.
You got one of Jerry's last week.
For some reason. I was telling Mo that he got one of Jerry's King of the Mountains. Mo's crank came off the bike on the Tuesday night ride that he went to, the Hammerfest, and he said that he believed it was not properly installed. And he was going pretty fast at the time, he said. I heard him talking to somebody else right behind me during this ride. And he just said that the good thing was he felt that something was wrong with the way the crank felt. And I believe it was the non-drive side. That's, you know, the Shimano has a history of that. If you're not careful, there is like a preload thing you have to use, a cap. And if you don't use that carefully, you can have those kind of problems. So he wasn't injured or anything. He got it sorted out. Because that's the same bike he's using here. This is Ashland Way, and a lot of streets out here have this thing where they go for a short distance and then it has a different name. depending on which village you're in. They have a lot of villages within the woodlands. And so after this intersection here at Woodlands Parkway, the name changes. Across Woodland Parkway, it becomes Stonyhurst Drive, and it's only about maybe 1.5 kilometers. That's Jesus on the left over there. That's Fabian on the right. I did get the name of this gentleman on my right here. The white time bike. Got to the ride, I really didn't tell anybody what my plans were or anything. I mean, you stick with your plan and you do your own thing. You know, the group, you don't want to hamper the group. So you guys will see in the clips that when they decide to start pressing, I go ahead and back off. And the funny thing about it, I was looking at my heart rate later on the film here. You will literally see my heart rate go down as I turn off the power. And that's what happens when you're really fit. Your body reacts real quick as soon as you stop pedaling. You're recovering. Really good. There is an Ironman race going on in the woodlands in this area this weekend, as well as that MS-150 from Houston to Austin. So that's what Mo was talking about. He said he wanted to finish this ride so he could go and watch part of the Ironman. It's one of the qualifiers for the main Ironman in Hawaii. They have it here every year. Fabian is using his Pinarello because he found out, the mishap that happened the last time, that what we thought was a battery was not a battery. He found out that he has a power meter he said he got from SRAM, and he has to send it back in for them to replace the battery. He was not very happy about that. He was telling me before the ride, because I met him on this road while I was warming up. He was out here spinning around before the ride, and he told me that they said, oh, it was so great, the greatest power meter, blah, blah, blah. He buys it, and now battery goes out. His bike is disabled for 2 weeks because he's got to ship it back to SRAM for them to change the battery. And he was saying that even SRM has the ability for you to plug something into the crank to charge it. So I'm not familiar with which model of power meter he got, but yeah, I wouldn't want to have to send my crank in just to replace a battery. I think that's just too much. So you got to really do your research before you buy those things. Find out what you can live with. As we turn here, you notice we go single file immediately because the pace is picking up. Nobody had to say anything. I just slipped behind this guy. So my goal was to sip my energy today and try not to exceed about 163 to 165 beats per minute. And not just so much heart rate, but as far as my legs. I didn't want to go anywhere. I want to stay about 15 to 20 beats below my threshold. So that meant I needed to stay in the 160s or less. And it's just a gauge from my experience. So whenever the effort started to exceed that, I would wave people up. You'll see that in the clips. But nobody else knew what I was doing. So, several times Mo would ask, are you okay? And he said, yeah, I'm fine. And and then there's one part where they actually waited for me. You know, it's really cool to see because I didn't stop riding. I just kept my effort where I needed to be. So once they backed up, I was kind of right there. But it's still that this group is just fast, and people refer to them as the crazy fast guys. The Team RR guys refer to them as the crazy fast guys. But it's good to ride with a group that can drop you, that challenges you. So you can mix it up. You know, you ride with a group like this, and then another time when you don't want to go quite so hard, you find another group. And then even if you're with that group and you want to go hard, and it's not the group that can beat you up, you stay at the front longer. So there are a lot of things you can do, but the variety is good to have. So what he did right there is he bent his head to blow his nose. He did not want it to spread, and so that's why he tried to just get it straight to the pavement. A lot of times it's probably, for me, it would be easier to just drift to the right and blow my nose, but I guess he didn't want to do that. So yeah, so you just have to be careful when you're blowing your nose, you're in the line, you don't want to spray the people behind you. That's what he was trying to avoid. Most of you may have noticed this guy is spending a lot of time in his drops, and that's a sign that his bike is very comfortable. There are a lot of riders who don't use the drops if they're not set up right, and then they just use the tops. So if you watch him, you know, he's not moving all over the place, he's real smooth, so he spent a lot of time getting his fit dialed in. That ride a lot, they spend a lot of time and money and energy on their fit because they don't want to put up with discomfort. To go fast, you need to be comfortable. If you're comfortable, you will produce power. Across Alden Bend Drive here. More checks. It's clear. Will comes on my left just to get through the intersection. He's not moving up. You can see he's kind of looking back and it's like moves up the road. Nobody wants to get on his wheel. It's like Mo always rides to the right because one time we were talking and he says that it's really good to get a good warm up. You know, he says especially if you're not like in your 20s per se, you want to warm up properly so your body's ready to produce. I think regardless of your age, but I think that at different ages you need different lengths of warm up. I mean, there are riders that I think he mentioned some people need 20 miles to warm up, you know, to really get going. So you got to know yourself. You got to know when you're warmed up to really put out the effort. It's not good to go too hard when you're cold. You don't use your energy very efficient. This is his shoes here. He's got his light on his pocket. I guess it's not on. Yeah, I've seen a few riders that do that. I like to put mine on the bike. Look back, I was back here, I looked back as well. That's why I moved over right away. So everybody kind of have to be looking, you know, especially if you're at the back. You got to look behind and let the people up front know that it's okay. Now watch Mo at this corner. I think I end up putting an arrow on it. He does not unclip. He stops and does a track stand just using the front wheel. Watch that. And then the light changed. we used to do that at the track, but most of the time I would do mine standing to where I could let the bike roll maybe a few millimeters forward and back, and you can stand there all day long if you needed to, waiting on the light. But the way he did it, he just remained seated and just used the front wheel to keep himself balanced. Grace, that's the lady that was on the other ride. I got her name on this ride. The lady that her legs move, her knees look like they're trapped a little more to the side than you used to see. A little bit out ride up there to close the gap. I think I was getting something out of my pocket. Guys warm up between 20 to 21 miles an hour, as their warm up, and then regardless of the grade, I think anything from 4% or less, they just ride whatever gear they're in. They don't slow down. They just keep going. The guy in the felt, you always see him. You don't hear him tell me, but when I turned off my power, he came by. He said, "They just keep going." I just laughed. It's like that was at Leah Drive because he'd already been dropped before we got there. So once I turned off my power, then he came around and he was saying, "Yeah, they just keep going." That's Fabian's Pinarello F10 Dogma. He brought this one out because the other bike they call Nago is the one that has the problem with the power meter where he's got to shift the crank. I think it's kind of, short-sighted to make a power meter where the client has to send it back in for you for the battery to be replaced. That's going to be just too much of a hassle. So he's not a happy camper. I didn't know SRAM had a power meter, but that's what he has on the other bike. He's got a quartz on this one.
I don't know. I didn't see him this morning.
So we go through this intersection, and at this time I was not aware. We end up turning into that parking lot up there. But I wasn't aware on the way back we saw the reason why. There was a construction at the end of this street. You see those pink looking things on the street there? Those are construction barrels. So they moved the traffic to where it's on one side of the road now. So I guess these guys didn't want to deal with that. So we cut through here, use the backside of this shopping center, and go back to Egypt Lane, which is on the right there that we just went across. They were going to go to 2978. They've basically moved traffic to one side of the boulevard so they can work on the other side, whatever they're doing. So we cut through here. The cool thing about this is the backside of this place is where they do deliveries and so forth, so you don't have to be concerned about cars pulling out of spaces, so it's just closed off. I mean, it's early in the morning, there's no deliveries or anything, so it's easier to deal with coming through parking lots, because ordinarily I don't like, even in my car, I don't like driving through parking lots much. You have to be extra cautious about people pulling out of spaces and not paying attention. So we come back. This is where the Sunday ride starts, where you see us turning. There's a building to the left. There's a wine tasting built on the left there. That's where they meet on Sunday, the WCC ride. and then they head out this way. So this is taking us back to Egypt Lane. At this point, we're not sure why this detour was necessary because no one really told us, and so people were wondering why did we do that. You know, I knew there had to be a good reason. It wasn't a big deal for me.
I guess they changed their mind.
That's what I told the guy. Was asking like, why did we do that? I said, I guess they changed their mind. At the time, I thought, well, they didn't want to deal with 2978, but the other intersection is a lot busier than this one. This is 1488 at Egypt Lane, and the other one would have been 1488 at 2978. This is the road that becomes Conroe Huffsmith Road. Egypt Lane, as you cross 1488, the name changes. I guess this is the road people used to use when you're headed towards Conroe or Huffsmith. Those are towns, in the area. Conroe is north. I believe Huffsmith is probably southwest. So before all the major roads were developed, this was the way people used to get out. But this is a subdivision, so it's quiet. Duck shot on the left and Fabian on the right. Duck shot's one of the guys that will be going to Maryland to do a diabolical double. The ride is called, where they have 2 mountain peaks that they have to climb in, I think, 125 miles or something. 180 kilometers, almost 200 kilometers. One of the few times I turned the camera around, I think that's Jerry back there. I noticed that Fabian Spinarella is the same kind of paint scheme as the Colnago. He's got the stealth and then a little bit of gold lettering. I guess he likes the black and gold. But if you don't look closely, the bikes really resemble each other other than the naming on it. So, they produce a product where your battery goes out and you're out of your bike for 2 weeks to get it replaced. Yeah, I wouldn't be buying that product. It's a power meter. The battery's going to go out. Why do I have to ship it back to you? Make a product where the consumer can either replace it themselves or have a local bike shop replace it. But it's got to go back to the manufacturer. I think SRM used to do the same thing. They eventually got to the point where you could plug in some of the chargers. I believe there's an option. That's what Fabian was talking about. But those are the things I talk about. If you got a power meter that keeps you off your bike for 2 weeks, it's like, okay, there's something wrong with that. And they didn't tell him that the battery needed to be replaced by them when he bought it. He said they told him, oh, this is the greatest, it's the best, and whatever. So yeah, so you really have to do your research. I usually use DC Rainmaker because he does thorough reviews of all these products. I use his website to read up on stuff before I invest in anything. Because the marketing will not tell you those drawbacks. So here they are, they have a customer who is disgruntled right now. I mean, he's not happy about it. And he did not hold back and let me know how unhappy he was that, you have to send the thing in and it takes 2 weeks. So yeah, they need to do better. Because he's not going to be recommending that product to anybody. The way he was telling me about it, it was like he was making sure, as if to say, don't buy one. Because he's been on the phone with them. Fabian, he said he let them know. He's not
I see
happy.
him this morning.
Then they tried to sell him other products
He wants to ride here.
that did not require the battery to teach. And he's like, I'm not spending
Come on,
any
guys.
more money
Like,
with you. So we turn here. This is Honia Egypt Road, this piece, and then this is Honia Egypt Road when you turn left. If you go straight, that name changes to Sendera Boulevard. So the same farm to Market Road, 2978, but depending on which section you're on or which village you're in, the name's different. This is Honia Egypt Road going northwest. I actually came out on Sunday and did the same route, part of it anyway. I rode this by myself. Again, same effort, just steady but hard. And I actually rode better on Sunday than I did on Saturday for this section. I clocked it at times. I mean, it's hard to say with the conditions, but I felt better after that. After the ride today, being off for 10 days, it's always good to do a ride to kind of open up the pipes, and then you're going. So the Sunday after this ride, I was going really well. I saw more than when I came out on Sunday. They were headed back in because I left later. That's why training is a science. You can't just, it's different every time. You can't pinpoint it because your body is changing and from year to year, month to month, whatever, things are different. You don't know how you're going to be going particularly. This is a slight grade here. You can see it. And the way these guys ride it says 2% briefly there, but you can see the speeds almost at 40 There's a guy passing with that trailer. I was telling Paul about it. He's gonna be turning left, maybe 50 yards up the road. And there's a guy behind you, see the brake lights come on? He ended up making them slow down because he's turning left. I'm like, why did he even bother passing? There he is turning. Right there. He's turning left into that driveway. But he had to pass. Just dumb. This is the driveway. That's what I'm telling you. That all of that. You wasted all that gas to turn right in that driveway. They behave as if to say, oh, there's a bicycle, I have to pass the bicycle. That's dumb. In driver's ed, we were told that you need to pass cautiously and it needs to be necessary, even if you're passing a car, because passing is one of the most dangerous maneuvers you can do while driving, because you're driving on the other side of the road. That's what we're taught. So if you're not going that far after you pass the car, it's not worth the pass. You're not gaining any time. Everybody here in a hurry, going nowhere. So we just laughed as we went by with that food. Then he had to get out of the car because the gate was locked as we went by. Look at it. It saved 0 time. But it never crossed their minds that it's not a smart move. A slight downhill, -2. Yeah, when we're coming the other way, it's a nice bump. Pretty much coasting here. Pick up my pedaling again. So at this point, this guy's sitting to the right. I'm not sure why he's doing that, because he's not in the draft. You see Jerry and Mo chatting back there. I think they must have been talking about the crank arm, because I'm smiling. And I think that's where I heard Mo was telling him about the crank arm and the fact that he didn't believe it was properly installed. And this is where you can get something to eat, like I'm in zone 1, we just went downhill, terrain's favorable, especially for us big guys. I'm 86 kilograms. more of them are probably 65, maybe. I'm sure he's less than 70 kilos, or maybe just around there. So when you have a lot of kilograms, you have to put out more watts when the road goes up. And these guys are at a higher level than I am right now anyway, so I have to work harder when the road goes up to try to stay with them. Because I'm carrying more kilos, and they're faster riders. So you got to think about all of that. So when you're riding with them, you got to make sure you have your fuel and all of that. You can hear more talking back there. And I think this is when they're talking about what happened. Jesus drifting to the back. I'm not really sure why, but I don't like to follow behind Jerry and Mo when they're talking, because when they decide to close the gap, they're going full gas to close the gap. If you're behind them, you got to work hard. So I'm going to try to just stay up here where the power is steady. You see this guy on the right, he's hitting all the bumps. I'm over on the left. I'm still getting a draft from him, even though he's over there because of the direction of the wind. But I can't figure out why he's sitting over there, because he's getting no draft where he is. Plus the road's crappy over there, and we all know this road. So I just stay over to the left here. I don't close up to Gracie here. I just sit back here and leave his gap there. But I stay on the cleanest part of the road, less bumps. I don't want to tear up my wheels. It's a lot easier to deal with. Plus I'm getting a great shot here anyway. You can see through the group. I think Will is pulling, or is that Doug? Might be Doug. I think it's Doug. This guy's drifting back too. I'm not really sure what's going on. Everybody's drifting to the back. So because the right side of this road is chewed up, you can see where I'm riding. I'm riding right behind where Gracie is. Find the cleanest part of it to use. We're using the lane. So there's no point in you trying to hug the edge of the road. But look at those reflectors. You don't want to roll over those things. It's not fun. They've got them intermittently placed on this road in both directions where you can see the reflectors. You know, some of them have been removed over time. I wish if they ever repave this road, they don't put them back there. If you're driving and you can't see the edge of the road, you don't need to be driving. This is where we come across Paul. That's Paulie Longer. I told him, hey man, we spotted him. I'm just riding. I'm staying low here. So Jerry had asked where Paul was, and I told him, I said, hey, he's probably doing something. I said, I hadn't heard from him. I said, but then Jerry said, well, I'm questioning his dedication, man. He was laughing. You know, Jerry's the main guy. Anytime I show up and Paul's not there, Jerry always asks about Paul. Jerry's in our Veloharmony club. Jerry lives there. So Doug pulled off the front. I got closer on this guy because now the road's cleaner and we're all riding on the same. If you look at the shadows, this line is tight. Right here, I'm right below sweet spot, and that's where I don't want to go over much. And that's probably another reason I got really close. And this road goes up and curves or whatever. Every time things change, you have to make a decision. Do I shift down, stay in the same gear? You know, I don't like the labor. You see my cadence. So I'll spin anywhere from 90 to about 105, 110 if I need to. But when there's a climb, I don't like to spin that much for that one. So I keep it around 85 to about 100. Generally, it varies depending on how I'm feeling. So I'm right where I don't want to go over, so I'm just staying very close. And it's not because of the wind, it's really the road. Even though it doesn't register, we're on a slight grade. In a little while, Gracie pulls off. They're turn left. The two are going in the subdivision. So I ride this guy quickly, so I'm not catching wind. There's a subdivision on the left. Flip the camera around. There they are. They're gonna turn into that subdivision. That's the Grand Lake Estate. We usually use it on the way back sometimes. I used it on Sunday coming back. I believe Paul and I did too. Yeah, Paul and I did coming back on this ride. So Fabian was the one pulling, so he had picked up the pace. That's why my effort was up. So Will takes over. Even though this guy is signaling, wait, I can see around him. I'm somewhat familiar with the road already, but I can see around him, so I'm already planning my line before he signals. Will's driving the pace here. I just sit really close behind this guy. There is a section coming up where Will will stand because he did not want to shift down, and he stands and go over. I think it's like a 5% climb. You can see the speed. I mean, we're moving. It's not windless here. You can hear it. There's wind blowing, you know, especially at these speeds. And so I'm staying a little to the left of this guy because that's where I feel the drag. Somebody said car up, calling their car, just so people are aware. You see the road is going to turn left, it kicks up after that turn. And I rode it again on Sunday, and it's about 5.4% or something like that, according to my head. And it goes for a little stretch. Right here. You see it start to kick up. This thing, yeah, and it says 2, 3. It goes up to 5.5%. And Will stands the entire time to keep the effort going, so he doesn't have to downshift. And I think after the climb he pulls up, which I thought was really cool, because yeah, I like to pull off after a climb. I like to pull off and give somebody a climb. Right here, Will pulls up. That's a good spot for someone to take over. Slightly downhill to flat. That's nice. That was nice. You see how close I am, guy. All I'm trying to do is keep my heart rate reasonably low. I don't want to go over 170. I start creeping into zone 4. I don't want to work in zone 4 today. So this is a downhill, and so I'm soft pedaling to avoid coming up on this guy because I'm getting sucked. He's a good sized guy, so I'm getting a good draft, and I have to soft pedal. See, now I'm coasting, and I got really close to him. Now I'm pedaling. I moved to the right to slow down to catch the wind, but I'm staying close to him. So I thought that was a cool place where Will pulled off, because look at what he gave this guy. This guy's a solid guy, so you know he's got to put on more watts to go uphill than the little guy. So it's perfect for him to pull in this section. I thought that was nice. And another reason could be that Will did such a strong pull that he was going to catch his breath, because after this section the road starts going up. I know he's gonna pull off. I can feel him slowing down, and then right there he pulls up. I'm already there. I just roll through. I don't stay there because I'm already trying to keep my heart rate down. You can see it's below 160. So I just go ahead and do my right hand for somebody to come around. And I think it's either Jerry or Mo. Somebody's back there. Yes, Jerry. Jerry and Mo. Okay, so they come around. So right here, I go ahead and drift back. And at this point, I decide I'm gonna turn down the power. So I get behind Will to see what they're doing. And I want you guys to watch my heart rate. It's in the 170s because this road's going up here. You know, where it says 1%. It's a little more than that. From here, for the next mile and a half, the road's going up. And then at Leah Drive is a segment, so they go even harder. So right here, I'm like, okay, I'm 10 beats above where I want to be. So watch my heart rate as I turn off the power. You see how it's going down? Look at that. From 170 to 160 already. I turned off the power, drifted, so I waved Fabian off so he wouldn't have too much of a gap to close. That's how you do it. If you're not going to do the effort, get out of the line, let the other people go through. That's Doug's shot at the back. So I turned off my power to keep my effort in the 160s. And the guy who had been pulling is behind, because he got dropped once he got through pulling. Yep. There he is. Now he comes around, he told me, oh, they just keep going. But the camera didn't pick him up. I told him, yeah. Now, what I want to talk about here is that I keep my effort steady. So watch my effort, not my speed, because I downshift and keep my effort in the 160s. I went ahead and edited for time because we rode this section for a while. And this guy is in sight the whole time. I'm not focusing on him. But when I came to do the clips, I saw that he was in sight. I just hold the camera. All I'm focusing on is keeping my effort steady. Not in the gear or shifting up a neuromuscular power like they were doing. So by keeping my effort in the 160s, you will see he does not make an appreciable gain on me that much. He's right there, the car's coming around. I keep looking at my speed is going up because the terrain has changed. Because I'm a heavy guy. Once the terrain changes, the same effort use more speed. And now I'm gaining on him. And so I start to think, okay, if I can get to that corner when the light is green, I should be able to ride back to the group. Because I have a feeling that they're gonna either stop for the light if it's red, or if they stop and then it changes before I get there, by the time they get rolling, they're still not going full power. So that's what I'm gauging on. So now, I don't catch these guys. It's just the circumstances and the fact that I kept my effort steady got me back to them. And then they actually had to turn after the light. You would see them turn into the service station. And all of that just made it easier for me to get back at this lower effort. So I see, like, this is his suit. He tells me, see you later. He's going back. Turn around before the light. I see the light's green. And then I'm like, okay, let's see how long, because usually I would yellow, you get 6 seconds. It changes to yellow, and I give it the stick. I get through here. This is 2854. I get through that corner, and I spot them. Then I see some of them turning into the parking lot, and I see this car's turn, this truck, so I slow down. And then I saw another rider on the street right there. That's Doug's shot. So I just ride straight and decide I'm going to just spin while they stop, because I thought they were stopping. But they ended up, they were not stopping. They went through there really to give me an opportunity, or whoever was off the back, to catch up. You will see the shadow, that's Mo. So they just went through there and came through, back through. So as I roll up here, you will see Mo will come, and this is where he tells me, he said, take a break. He said, rest a little bit. He takes the camera from me.
I know, it's gotta be hard to hold this.
He said, that's gotta be uncomfortable. I said, well, you get used to it.
I'm not trying. Yeah, it's off. Anytime you move it straight.
So he gets it, he straightens everything, and then Mo takes over the camera. I'm like, okay, fine, great. You know, it wasn't because of the camera. I mean, it's just, but he's right. You got something else that gets your attention. But it was like, they're just, and today I wasn't gonna work. I wasn't gonna eat. Not after almost 2 weeks off. That just wasn't smart. It wouldn't have been smart. So Mo here has the camera right now. He rolls up the wheel. There's another rider up front, Fabian.
I'm doing a little guest director. Sergio Leone. Once upon a time on the bike.
So I'm behind Will on the right, and Mo has the camera, and I think he's gonna ride up to Fabian. He said it's not easy. You have to get used to it. It's not that bad. It's just.
Sorry. I'm just trying to get. Say Once Upon a Time on the Bike by Sergio Leone. Yeah, go ahead. I'm getting used to it. I'm doing a little panning up. That's pretty cool. You gotta get the hang on it though.
So that's Paul over there. Paul's in his Giro jersey today. This is cool.
Yeah, it is hard.
So I'm up front. I don't know what he's doing back there. I don't care. I'm just riding. And I think in a little while, Will suggests that we do a rotating pace line. But then what ends up happening is a couple of people just kept speeding up every time. And that throws off the rhythm. It's like you feel like you're sprinting every time you come to the front as the speed continues to go up.
Sorry to the viewers if it's getting a little wobbly. Sorry for the headache. I'm just getting the hang on it.
Mo says he's getting the hang of the gimbal. And what I like about the gimbal, regardless of what he does with it, it's steady. That's his job. It keeps the camera steady. He's got the camera, he got it low, because this is a low angle. That is really cool. Great shots, Mo. This is excellent.
I'm doing like one of those shots like I do with TV.
Only a cyclist can shoot like that. That's perfect. That was beautiful. Look at this.
And this is like it.
So yeah, we're doing a rotating pace line. Just rotate in front of that guy. Watch, the 5 of us. So Doug comes in front of me. Then Paulie Longa goes.
Ed in questo momento stiamo facendo il
We are blessed to have Maurizio in the area, man. It's kind of like going on a ride and Greg LeMond starts filming. This is cool.
Vediamo ancora Alastair Craig che prende questa Doug Schatz che sta ancora con la maglia azzurra della leader della classifica del campionato montagna, mentre il leader della classifica punti è Paul Lunga con la maglia rossa. È ancora molto accordo con questa linea.
So Mo's at the front now, and now he's gonna drift over, and whoever else needs to come around right. Oh, that's okay. Doug comes over. So if people don't keep the speed steady, like when I pull over, I back off just a little. If they don't keep it steady, then it gets hard. And then you just feel like you're accelerating. So in a little while, I go ahead and tell Mo I'm going to back off. I let them go. But Mo said they're going to sprint for something. This guy's picking up the pace. Mo's going through. I'm going to come to an intersection. And after the intersection, I'll let them go. Mo takes the camera with him. And I go ahead and just ride my pace. So in a few weeks, we'll film not only this section, but we'll film the return. We're gonna be riding with these guys. So it's clear, so we go. That's the road dead ends on the left, so we're really just concerned about the right. There's a couple of climbs coming. This is where I back off. We go through the light, I back off, and I let them go. And then start to sprint. I think we'll get to see that because Mo takes the camera with him. So don't pay attention to my stats because I'm behind doing my own thing.
You're gonna delete it all.
He said I was gonna delete it. No, this is great, man. he said Elder's gonna delete all this stuff. No, Mo, we're keeping all of it. This is priceless stuff. Look at this. I'm not part of the group right now. They're just going. Paul is still there. That's Fabian up the road there. I think that's why they were speeding up. Most riding up. That's Mo's shadow. He catches up. This is a climb. He's riding up. He's passing Fabian like Fabian standing still. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This stuff is not easy. This is like a 3.5% climb or something like that.
It's not easy.
And it goes for a while.
There you go.
Will comes around. Jerry's going, you see? So they're constantly accelerating. And that's hard. That's Mo's shadow. Mo's behind Will. I can see them in the distance. So they attacked that first climb, and now this is the second one, which is shorter. And then more counterattack. Look at that. And he turns the camera around, priceless. And then Will's coming back. Oh wow, that's cool. Oh man, this is hard, guys. This terrain here is hard. You know, 2 to 4% climbs. That is cool. So they turn right here. I'm still on the climb. I believe I'm on the second one or something like that. See my speed, 25 kilometers an hour. I'm keeping my heart rate right in the sweet spot here. That's duck shot there. Hey, I tell you, these guys. Oh, that's cool, man. So Mo is slowing down here because I can see his light in the distance. I'm not too far behind. He's looking because I see his light. Oh, is it? Okay, this guy comes and I believe Paul is back. I think that's Paul's light with the light flashing. Slowing down to get everybody gathered back together. If you look at my effort, I'm still just keeping my effort right around sweet spot. Top of tempo, bottom of zone 4. That's where I'm keeping my effort. So Mo's riding with Paul here. I'm at the top. I've already turned. Now that the road is leveled off, I pick up my speed. You see my speeds, I'm above 25 miles an hour, riding downhill like they were. In a little while, Mo is going to stop. They go around this curve, and then Mo backs off the pace. I might be 7 or 10 seconds behind. It's hard to gauge, but he starts to slow down. I'm doing about 40 kilometers an hour. Because I stayed in the zone I needed to stay in, I'm fine, you know, I'm not dead or anything, just riding. And right here, Mo comes to a complete stop. He's watching, he looks behind, he sees me, and you will see that in a little bit, he just starts going again. So right about here, he starts to go again because he sees me coming. Right there, he starts to go. And you will see me come around him. Since he's going somewhat slow and I'm moving faster, I just go ahead and come around and then he slips behind me. I'm letting him know that you guys kept accelerating. In the pace line we're doing, the rotating pace line. So I just go ahead and roll to the front. Mo sits in the draft and we just start the roll. This was so cool. I mean, it was his second time handling the camera, but to be able to turn it around, you know, the gimbal is so much fun. And you know, he was mentioning whether the camera would be bouncy. No, the gimbal does its job. So it was great, Mo. I want to thank you for filming. And so we turned left here, and this is just part of what we did on Saturday. And we're really blessed to have former professional road racer Mauricio Topini in the area who took the time to film and commentate in Italian. Get your K's in.